Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. Today, our guests are Mark Nelson, who's the director of the Alabama Spay Neuter Clinic.
That's right.
And Dr. Margaret Farrell, who's the veterinarian over there. Did I say that word right?
Yes.
There's an extra syllable in there, it sounds like. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all coming in, and tell us a little bit about the clinic.
Well, we opened in 2008. We're located in Irondale, Alabama.
Right on Crestwood Boulevard, I believe, right?
Yeah, about half mile past Golden Rule Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people know where that is.
Yes, yes. Don't start talking about it. I'll get up and go. I feel I'm a barbecue guy.
We opened in 2008, as I said, from a double-wide trailer. We were there a little over a year while they were building our state-of-the-art facility that we moved into in September of 2009. Since opening in 2008, we've done nearly 115,000 spay-neuter surgeries.
Wow. Are those mostly dogs, cats, other creatures?
It's about 60%, 55 to 60% cats and 40 to 45% dogs.
It keeps you busy.
It does.
How are you staffed over there for that kind of volume?
Right now we have 2 doctors, and we work together in one suite, one surgery suite, and we have a team of about 5 technicians or veterinary assistants and licensed veterinary technicians helping us. And so there's someone with each patient at all times when they're under sedation. But basically the doctors work between 2 surgery tables so that when we finish one surgery, there's another patient prepped for surgery ready to go. So we're able to just change our gloves and get right into that next surgery.
And how long does an uncomplicated, I don't know if there are some that are more complicated than others or some that are complicated by what you find when you get where you're going, but how long would it typically take to do a spay neuter?
Our most challenging surgery is going to be a female dog, and if she is a little large or a little overweight, she'll be even a little more challenging. And so a large female dog will take anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes if there are no complications. And then smaller dogs, usually 6 to 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Cats take about 5 minutes
really?
for a female. And male cats are quick, they're under a minute.
Wow, that's quick.
It is quick. We like to say efficient.
Okay, that is quick. So how many is that roughly per day?
Per doctor, we're doing between like 30 to 35 per doctor in a day.
Some people have said that that's, I mean, I've heard this on the street. Nobody's really, there's not a lot of rumble about it, but that sometimes working at that pace sometimes can cause problems with aftercare. Is there a follow-up?
We do have a follow-up, and I would disagree with that rumble. Basically what we do, we've been trained to have efficient techniques, and so we're not rushing through surgery or hurrying.
Yeah, that's what I want people to know.
What we do, it just makes it more efficient. For one example, the first thing that we're taught is how to spay an animal or remove the ovaries and uterus through a very small incision. And so it takes a lot less time to suture up a small incision versus a longer incision, which is what we learn when we're in vet school. We learn to make a large, long incision to see everything. Veterinarians in high-volume spay-neuter are taught to remove the uterus and ovaries through a very small incision, just large enough to get the ovaries out.
Do you use robotics of sorts, or just all hands-on?
It's all hands-on.
Oh, good. Well, I didn't mean to cause any heartburn there. I wasn't trying to,
not at all.
But is there follow-up care with the animals that you spay?
So if
or
everything
neuter?
goes well, like we want it to, we do offer for our clients to come back. There's a 7 to 10 day healing period for every pet, and we offer free rechecks after the surgery, so they can come back to make sure everything's fine.
If there's any problem.
Hopefully they're not going to have a problem. Most don't take us up on that offer, but you know, our clients are welcome. If there is a problem, though, we do take care of it. Our thing is that we want our clients to have a healthy spayed and neutered animal after they come to us. So if they bring us a healthy pet, we want them to have a healthy pet at the end of the process that has been spayed or neutered.
Well, what you do, of course, is critical to our pet population.
Yes.
And what you do is critical to reducing our pet population, which ultimately reduces the number of pets that are at the pound or at the GBHS facility, because their volumes are outrageous. And so I think what I would like to come away from this show with is that people need to understand that services such as this are available, and that we can't adopt our way out of the pet problem that we have. So, you know.
That's correct. So homelessness is the #1 killer of pets in America. That's the #1. In veterinary school, we're taught it's the #1 disease. People don't think of homelessness as a disease, but it is the #1 thing that kills companion animals in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still, unfortunately, killing millions of healthy dogs and cats that are adoptable. And as you said, you can't adopt your way out of this problem, and so we have to prevent them from breeding and creating more puppies and kittens. And so every time a family member lets their dog or cat have a litter because they want to show their children the miracle of birth,
Yes.
you know, even if it's just, 5 kittens or 5 puppies in that litter, that's 5 homes that have to be found for those pets, that maybe there's a shelter dog or a shelter cat waiting for a home that's not going to get adopted because they're competing with that litter.
Mark, where does the funding come from for the services that you provide?
Well, we've been real fortunate to get some grant money. We also get donations, and a lot of the funding comes from our actual fees, although our fees are very reasonable. I mean, a female dog spay is $100, and a male cat neuter is our least expensive, is $50. So we do recoup a lot of our costs through our fees, but we also get a lot of donations and grant money.
Okay. Well, we'll probably explore that when we come back from break, but I'm going to take a little break right now, and we'll be right back. Don't leave us, all right? This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our show. This is Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. We're talking with Dr. Margaret Farrell and Mark Nelson from the Alabama Spay Neuter Clinic over on Crestwood Boulevard. So as we went to break, we were talking about funding and how you get your funding. How could you expand on that a little bit and maybe inform those people listening or watching, I should say, listening and watching actually, how they could go about helping you with funding your programs?
I mean, if they would like to call, we'd love to discuss any donations that they would like to leave us. We get a lot of donations just sent to us by mail. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so any donations to the clinic is tax deductible. But really the best thing would just be to give me a call if they would like to donate money.
So I suspect the income generated from the procedures is not sufficient to cover the cost of operating the facility. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, it is. I mean, right now the income from the surgeries cover a lot of our costs, but not all of our costs. We do rely on donations and grant money to help.
Did you go to Auburn?
I did go to Auburn for veterinary school.
Good for you. And then you went to Mississippi State.
For undergraduate.
Well, you were right there. I mean, that's 2 excellent veterinary schools.
Yes, so I'm a Birmingham native and Alabama born and bred, and so we go to Auburn for vet school when you're from Alabama.
That's true. That's true. Well, they have a great program. Do you utilize is there any kind of internship programs between, like maybe is it a 4-year program?
So yes, your 4th year in veterinary school, you have an opportunity to train in real hospitals. You get to choose where you want to go. And so we do offer training externships to veterinary students. Usually they come for 2 weeks at a time. And myself and Dr. Long, our other veterinarian, will teach those veterinarians one-on-one and share the techniques that we learn. And so they can go and use those in private practice when they get a job and be an efficient surgeon as well. And again, efficiency helps the patient because you have a shorter anesthesia time. And so we know the longer that a patient is under anesthesia, the more risk there is for them to have a complication to anesthesia.
Similar to
we
humans.
like those shortened anesthesia times. So we're helping them become an efficient surgeon, and they can carry that on into their private practice.
Do you call out some people that might think they want to be a vet in the process, or is that done before that last year of vet school? I've heard that also, that some people, they want to be a vet and then they go into that first operating room and they can't take it.
Well, I think by the time they come to us, they're past that. But I will tell you, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I was a little squeamish at first, and it's embarrassing to say, but my first cat spay in veterinary school, I got dizzy and had to get the resident to finish my cat spay because I got a little squeamish and couldn't finish. But obviously, that's not a problem for me any longer.
I had a little vermin in my house that met an untimely death last night because I was looking for him for about a week, and he went into the trap. Boy, they can get in and out of there in a hurry. How can they do that? I don't know how they. Anyway, I found him this morning, and just to reach. I'm a big animal person. Everybody knows that, but just to reach down and try to manipulate my hand to get that item creature into a sack to the proper disposal place. I mean, I was like, oh gosh, if my wife wasn't there, I was going to say, would you do this, please? And she has no qualms with it at all, but for me, it drives me crazy. Aside from dogs and cats, do you see other creatures in your practice?
We do not, just dogs and cats.
Would you see other creatures?
I will tell you.
I don't know what they would be. Ferrets, maybe?
I did have 2 pygmy goats as pets that were my personal pets that may or may not have made a trip to the Spay and Neuter Clinic. But other than that, just dogs and cats.
Well, there's an opening at the goat yoga farm somewhere, I've heard, that I saw on the TV the other day about goat yoga. What do you see as your biggest problems to overcome in doing what you do?
I think people don't realize how big of a problem it is. I really think people are aware that it's a problem, but not to the extent that it is. I mean, there's 6 to 8 million dogs a year enter shelters nationally, and I've seen studies, and I think about 20% of the people interviewed realized it was anywhere near that number. But it is a huge overpopulation is a huge problem.
You know, we have a lot of animals that go up to the Northeast corridor,
Yep.
Where they don't seem to have the overpopulation problems that we have.
Well, they also have very aggressive, well-funded spay-neuter programs, and we're getting there here, but we're not to the extent that they are in some of the northeastern states.
How did they get, just your opinion on how they got there and why we're getting there?
I think there's a little bit of a different mindset in some of those areas, and they started earlier. I think a lot of these spay-neuter programs, you know, what we're going through, been through the last 10 years, they were going through 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
Wow. So they're ahead of us.
I think
But we're
another
catching up.
problem too, run into a lot of men in particular, they don't want to have their male dog neutered.
I know a guy like that.
So, you know, I just want to encourage people, you know, males are part of the problem too. Most people just want to fix the female because she's the one that's having
What's wrong
the
with
puppies
us?
or the kittens. But, you know, it's not going to change his personality. He's still going to be a rough and tough guy dog or guy cat. And, you know, they're part of the problem too. So I just want to encourage folks to get their males neutered as well.
Why don't we start neutering the males? That would,
We're
the
try-
owners.
we're trying
the
to.
owners
Yeah,
are
we're
talking.
all for it.
I'm just joking. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're talking with Dr. Margaret Farrell and Mark Nelson relative to low-cost spay-neuter and their clinic. So aside from spay-neuter, do you offer other services at your facility?
We do. They're only available at the time of surgery, so you can only get them when your pet comes for surgery. You can't come back any other time to get those from us because we want clients to establish a relationship with their full-service or regular veterinarian. But however, when pets come to see us, we do offer the core vaccinations for pets. That includes rabies and the distemper parvo vaccination for dogs, the Bordetella or kennel cough vaccine for dogs. Right. And for cats, there's a series of upper respiratory viruses that cats get. We offer a vaccine for that. And we also offer the leukemia vaccine. We have testing for heartworm disease and the feline leukemia AIDS viruses in cats. So you can get those tests done. And, you know, we'll refer you to your veterinarian if they test positive. And then we also offer microchipping, flea control, and dewormer.
Wow. Microchipping is helpful in those instances when your puppy gets away.
Yes, if you have a lost pet and they're chipped, if they're at a shelter or another vet's office, they can be scanned, and as long as the chip is registered and you keep your information current, then you can be contacted and your pet can be returned.
So that pet can be taken to any vet that has access to that database, and they would be able to identify who the owner is?
So basically, it works. There's a scanner that picks up the chip number, and that number is linked to a certain microchip company, and that company has the client's information.
Wow.
So it's just a phone call and collecting the information from the company and then getting in touch with the
So
client.
if in our audience we have someone that wants to take advantage of your services, what would they do to just initiate that contact? How do they do that?
Just give us a call. Locally, it's 956-0012. We also have a toll-free number for people that live out of town. And one thing
That's 205, right?
Yes, 205. We have a transport that basically goes out about a 90-mile radius of Birmingham, and we go to Tuscaloosa once a month, go to Anniston once a month, go to Jasper, Coleman. So even if you live in outlying areas, we provide free transportation to and from the clinic. So people, we're not just a Birmingham-based clinic. We do serve basically north central Alabama.
Oh, that's great. So have you, since 2008, I'm assuming you've experienced some growth there?
Oh, yeah. Transport's about half of the surgeries we do come in on our transport.
So you go pick them up and bring them back?
We do. We typically pick up at 6 in the morning. We do, Dr. Farrell and her staff does the surgery. We keep them overnight typically and take them back the next day. I say typically, occasionally we will have same-day returns.
And you're able to take care overnight-wise of how many animals? I mean, like you have,
Right now,
it's like a hospital bed.
yeah,
I
right
guess.
now we house between 60 and 70 animals a day. And that's
Really?
with 2 doctors. We're actually adding 2 doctors. They'll start in June, so we're growing to a 4-doctor practice this summer. We did 12,000 surgeries last year in 2018, and our goal, we hope to do 20,000 or more in 2020.
And in 2008, you were doing?
Oh, I don't know.
I think
that we did about 4,000. We did not open until June, so I guess annually it would have projected to about 8,000 surgeries.
So you're on the incline.
Yes, we
Well,
are.
that's great.
We're having trouble keeping up with demand, but we're hoping that we're making a difference, and we are seeing euthanasia rates drop in the shelters in our areas.
Yeah, there's some stats out from those states that got a jump on this low-cost spay neutering, comparing euthanasia rates, cost savings to the facilities were pretty staggering.
Oh, yeah, and in New Hampshire, where that was one of the first states to really implement a strong spay-neuter program. I believe the first 6 years of the program, shelter intake dropped by, I believe it was 75%, and they calculated it was a
Wow, that's a big number.
state-funded. Oh yeah, it was a state-funded program, or partially funded by the state, and they spent about $1 million supplementing the cost of spay-neuter over the 6-year period. In that same time period, they saved over $3 million in impoundment costs.
Wow.
So
I think their euthanasia rates probably dropped considerably.
Shelter intake and euthanasia rate pretty much go hand in hand.
Okay. So I think people don't understand that, because you have a lot of people that go, well, I'm not going to contribute to them. They're not a no-kill shelter. They don't. I mean, that I recognize that's a philosophy that in a perfect world should be embraced by all of us, but in reality, that's not reality.
It's not yet. We're working towards that goal, where every shelter can be a no-kill shelter, but right now there's just not enough room for all the pets, and it's not humane for them to live in stainless steel cages their entire lives waiting to be adopted. That's not very humane.
Yeah. Well, I know Birmingham Humane Society has a fairly active transport program that takes pets up to the Northeast Corridor where they're lacking animals that are looking for homes. So hopefully,
that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Hopefully, with the combination of things like they do, things like you do, we can maybe get back to some equilibrium where we don't have so many animals that have to be put down.
That would be a blessing.
It would be. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on to the show today.
Appreciate
If
being
people
here.
want to check us out, we also have a Facebook page, and our website is www.alspay.org.
Okay. www.alspay.org,
Yes.
not com.
Correct.
And you're leaving here this morning. We type in the morning. It's not really Sunday night, and we're not really here, but it looks like we are. If people, you're going to leave here this morning and
I'm about to
go to work.
Scrub in and spay and neuter some dogs and cats, saving lives.
Well, God bless you for your
you.
commitment to the dog and cat population, and you too, Mark. Thanks for being with us.
Appreciate
so
y'all
much for
coming
having
on.
us.
You're very welcome. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us this Sunday. We'll see you next week.